What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are talking about the Amazfit GTR Lite Smartwatch. So this is a watch that looks very similar to the original Amazfit GTR, but this is cheaper. So you can find this one for about $110, and as always there will be some links in the video's description. So this watch does about 95% of what the Amazfit GTR does. It does pretty much everything with one exception, but I'll tell you all about it. So first things first, we get the same 1.39 inches AMOLED screen, and the watch also supports auto brightness, so the screen will be bright enough so you can see it no matter where you go, and you can actually see it in direct sunlight as well. The watch also supports that feature where the screen comes on every time you turn the arm towards you, and it takes about, I don't know, half a second or less for the screen to come on, so it works really good. It also features a always on display, so the screen can stay on 24/7. Now, you cannot customize the way the always on display looks like. You either have a digital dial or an analog dial, depending what your style is. Now, talking about that always on display, so depending if you keep the always on display on at all times, that will impact your battery life, of course. So if you look on the manufacturer's website, it says that this watch can get about 24 days on one charge. Now, the way I've been using the watch, I was able to get about 6 days on 50%. And that means that I'm going to be able to get about 10 to 12 days, I'm going to say, for a charge, basically. So I've used the always on display constantly between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. I also got a bunch of notifications. I had the heart rate monitoring on at all times, and I've done some activities, some sporting activities. So like that, you're gonna be able to get between 10 to 12 days on one charge. Now, if you turn off the always on display, if you turn off the 24/7 heart rate monitoring, of course, you're gonna be able to get more. So your results will be different depending on how you use the watch. Charging the watch is done pretty simple. There is a charger that attaches to the back of the watch, and it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully charge the watch from 0 to 100. One of the main differences between the GTR Lite and the original GTR is the material used for the watch's body. So this one we get the body made out of aluminum, where with the original GTR we get stainless steel. But personally, I feel that I like the way that this one, the GTR Lite, looks more than the other one. I don't know, it just looks better with this darker color, at least in my opinion. Now, the straps for this one, on this one are made out of rubber, but you can easily replace the straps, and there are a bunch of straps available anywhere. So you can get like a leather strap or a metallic strap, and you can basically change the look of the watch. So in my opinion, the GTR Lite actually looks better than the original GTR, but again, that's just me. The second main difference between this and the original GTR is the fact that this one doesn't have a GPS unit inside. Now, it has the same sporting activities as the original GTR. So we have running, we have walking, we have cycling, swimming, exercising, etc. But it doesn't have a GPS unit inside. Now, if you take your phone with you whenever you're doing any of those activities, so walking for example, the watch will use the phone's GPS, so you can still get accurate information basically, and you can also get a map with everywhere that you've been. If you don't have the phone with you when you go for a run, for example, your information is not going to be as accurate as it would be with the original Amazfit GTR. Now, if you're not an athlete and you're like me, chances are you're gonna have the phone with you every time you go for a walk or for a run. And if you do have the phone with you, then there is really no difference, because the watch is just gonna use the phone's GPS and you're gonna get the same information. Now, if you're a professional athlete and you go running for 2 hours, you probably don't want the phone with you. And in that case, I don't recommend that you buy this, and I recommend that you get the original GTR that has a built-in GPS unit. So that is the main difference between this one and the original GTR. And in my opinion, for most people, or at least 95% of the people, the GPS unit inside it is not gonna make that big of a difference. Once you're done with whatever activity you're doing, you can see all the stats on the watch or on the phone. And if you've had the phone with you, of course, you can see a map with everywhere that you've been on that run or walk or whatever you're doing. Alright, moving on to notifications. So just like the Amazfit GTR, the watch can display whatever notifications you get on your phone. So Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, you can basically see the notifications on the watch here, but you're not going to be able to reply to any notifications. So you can see them, but if you want to reply to them, of course, you're going to need to take out your phone and reply to them that way. So when that happens, I consider a smartwatch more of a fitness watch than a smartwatch. If you have a smartwatch that's using Android Wear, for example, or the Apple Watch, then you'd be able to reply to notifications. But to these watches that are more of a fitness watch than a smartwatch, well, you cannot reply to notifications, but at least you get to see them on the watch. Like any other smartwatch out there, of course, it will track your steps throughout the day, the distance that you've done, the calories that you've burnt, and it will track your heart rate, if you have that enabled or not. And of course, you can see all that on the watch or on the phone. Using the watch is extremely simple as well. If you swipe one, you can see how many steps you've done. If you swipe the other way, you can see your heart rate. If you swipe down, you have access to like a quick toggle system, and if you swipe up, you can see basically the watch's menu. You can see the settings in there, and you can make some changes. However, you don't have that many options and things to change in there. Talking about changes, of course, you can change the watch faces, and there are a bunch of watch faces available through the Amazfit app, and it's fairly simple to change watch faces, but it takes like 30 to 60 seconds to change a watch face. But as I said, there are a lot of watch faces available. So to quickly conclude this video, the Amazfit GTR Lite is a very good looking smartwatch that isn't that expensive. And even though it doesn't have a GPS unit, I would actually buy this one over the original Amazfit GTR. I just find this one better looking. I like the look with the rubber band, I like the gray looking body and so on. Not to mention that you get a great looking screen that you can see in direct sunlight, you get great battery life. As I said, about 10 to 12 days if you use it the way I use it, otherwise probably longer. So definitely a great watch if you're looking for a basic smartwatch that looks great. This is the one to get. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, don't forget to press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.